All right. Good afternoon. Good evening, all my people, my friends, my supporters, my followers. This is Darius Nolan, also known as A Different Echelon. This is another edition of the A Different Echelon podcast. Tonight, we are favored with a very good friend of mine. I've known her for probably, I would say, 5 or 6 months, maybe something like that. But we hit it off very well, and we have a genuine connection. So tonight we're going to talk about and continue in the series of health and fitness. Last week we had Mike from Anything is Possible AIP Fitness of Charlotte, North Carolina. Tonight we have my good friend Erin Mansour. She corrected me before we got on as to how to pronounce her name correctly, of Stryke Fit in North Charleston or Charleston, South Carolina. Erin, how are you today?
I'm
How are
great.
you?
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking. So, again, we met. What month was that? Did we meet? Was that June?
Well, we met in the month of June.
Right,
Yes, because it
right,
was right after what happened to George Floyd. So
right,
that's why we came together.
right,
Yeah.
right. So just a little background and how we met. We met through a mutual person that hooked us up, and I'm a musician. I have a band locally, and obviously she has a dance fitness. Would you call it a club or a studio? How would you?
No, we call it a boutique. So it's a boutique fitness studio, and it's a combination of MMA, dance, and then plyometric, isometric, and strength training moves all in one. So it's like an everything.
And
But
everything.
yeah. So we would
Yeah,
call it a boutique studio, but we call it
right.
fight dance fitness.
Yeah,
So
there we go. There we go.
underneath the strike,
I need to,
obviously.
I need to talk to you about those shirts too, because I need a shirt, for sure. But anyway,
We'll get you a
we
shirt for sure.
excellent. Thank you, thank you. We met though. You were doing a great thing. Just kind of talk about how we met that particular event. It was almost like a unity event. Could you kind of speak on that?
It was. Yes. Well, I had the vision for a few years to do strike classes to live music.
Mhm.
And then I was on Facebook, and I was just kind of perusing because I don't get on Facebook too much except to do the business,
Right.
especially nowadays. I try to
Hmm.
stay off of it because I don't want to end up in fights. But I was perusing it, and I saw you and Dia,
Right.
who's a very good friend of mine and who I
Right.
love to death,
Right.
singing. Well, Dia was singing, you were playing, and I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
And it was just right after what had happened with George Floyd
Right.
happened, and a lot of the things were starting to happen with, the Black Lives Matters and stuff like that. So what I really wanted to do was I wanted to host a class in the community to really support
Mm.
Black Lives Matters and to just bring everybody together and unify them.
Mhm.
And I was just like, and I want a live band. I want to try to do this with a live band and, curate this entire experience based on just unity and feeling good and being together and being healthy together, and not worrying, not that we shouldn't pay attention, obviously, to what's going on with African Americans right now, because we obviously should, but just in that time and space, just being together as one people all together, and just trying to be in love with
Mm.
everything else that was going on. So
Yeah, and that's good. And I felt that right away. We talked on the phone. I think we talked on like a Wednesday, and we were able to put it together and complete it and accomplish great
yeah.
things following Saturday. So and that's one of the things that which is what motivates my heart to do this and kind of motivates me to do whatever I do, is the love for people. I personally, and I don't want to
Right.
sound all lollipops and balloons, but I genuinely have a love for everyone until you show me that you're not
Right.
worthy of it, and that's what I do. So it's very important
Right.
that we come together and we stay together. So we did that. It was very successful. And I saw various people, some people I
Yes.
knew, but it was, black, white, Hispanic. various people. You know, when I got back to work, one of my good friends teased me because
Lebanese.
yeah, Lebanese. I went on live,
Lebanese.
and I think I mentioned that there were some people there, some Pacific Islanders, which I didn't necessarily see Pacific Islanders, but I just wanted to kind of enforce the fact that, you know, we're all there to do something very, very special, regardless of our skin color. And there were a few guys there as well. So
Right.
that was really, really good. So that was important. But it's interesting
Yeah.
you bring that whole thing up, because, you know, as always, we begin when we talk about something that's current before we get into the subject at hand. And, you know, it all came out today. Well, not today, excuse me, earlier this week, that in the state of Kentucky, in regards to Breonna Taylor, that one of the jurors that was on the grand jury had come out to say that the whole charge of homicide was not on the table in regards to the police officers that shot and killed her. And I watched an interview yesterday that was shown on ABC. I guess that's Good Morning America, and they had the police officer that was actually shot, and he gave a depiction as to what happened. And he was interviewed by Michael Strahan, who some may know was an African American former football player of my New York Giants. Shameless plug, but he was actually pressed on, you know, how he said that Brianna was, and there's some dispute as to whether she was in the bed when she was killed, or whether I think some reports came out that she was standing behind the her boyfriend, who fired first, thinking it was an intruder. So I guess, you know, do you have any comments on any of that, or, you know, did you hear about that, or what are your thoughts on that?
As far as what do you mean? Like, do I have a
My
comment? I
question,
have
my
plenty of
question.
comments.
Yeah, well, you know, let her rip. What are your comments on any of it?
I think that everything, not just Breonna Taylor, but everything that's been happening and has been happening for a very long time, but I feel is more in the public spotlight than it has been, is it's heartbreaking.
Hmm.
And I feel like in a lot of ways as a, and I don't even know at this point, you know, I'm really trying to get my bearings on how to identify myself because I am Lebanese, but clearly for me, it's way different than it is for you because people look
Right,
at you and they automatically know you're African American.
right, right,
But people don't look at me and automatically know that I'm Lebanese.
right,
So, you know, with the just instant appearance of my skin, there's a privilege that you don't have.
right.
And it's just unfortunate and it makes me sick. And I mean, I when what happened with, just not even to take away from Breonna Taylor because it's
Right,
awful,
right,
but going back to George Floyd, which is what motivated me to reach out to you, because I wanted to do this concert and bring the
right,
unity together. I go
right.
back to even Eric Garner and what
Hmm.
happened to
Sure,
him,
sure.
and how, you know, the similarities, because with Eric it was the, you know, the big thing was I can't breathe.
Right.
And I remember at that time that that was something that I had put on my Facebook, and this was years ago.
Hmm.
And so again, it just goes to show you that the PR that Eric Garner got versus what George Floyd got and Breonna Taylor have gotten, I don't feel it was the same.
Right.
However, it obviously was still happening even then, and it's been
Hmm.
happening for a very long time,
Yeah.
and it's not fair.
Right.
And for me it breaks my heart because as an outsider, because I'm not African American, I all I can do is educate myself the best that I can when it comes to diversity, and just really diversity and inclusion in all things.
Hmm.
Even, I mean, even though I don't run a corporation, I run a business, and I want to have a business that is diverse,
Yeah.
and I always want to be an ally for my African American brother and sisters.
Hmm.
But I feel like we're at a critical point in this, like right now in this world, where there is a huge racial divide.
Yes.
And I feel like the media is pushing that even more, and they're
Hmm.
exploiting us. And it's
Right.
like their goal is to drive a wedge and to make it as, I think they want to separate us. And
For sure.
and again, there is no dispute. Hear me out. There is no dispute that is what is going on is absolutely unfair and it needs to stop. The African American community needs to be treated equally, and
Yeah.
they are not. And that's obvious in so many ways. And I
Hmm.
think it breaks my heart because, I feel like in a lot of ways I might be in the minority as far as the way that I see it.
Right.
So,
Well, that's very interesting. To kind of further what you're saying, Eric Garner did happen a while back. I don't remember the exact number of years, but I would say 4 years or better
it's about
before.
5.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years better
Yeah.
before George Floyd. The interesting thing, and I was speaking to one of my cousins, and he said something that was very powerful, and I never thought of it this way, although it was obvious. He said, "Darius, this is unique because the entire world saw it essentially from start to finish. Whereas there's always going to be
Right.
some dispute with the Breonna Taylor situation because, as I once again learned yesterday, there was one officer that was wearing a body camera, but he turned it off. So we will never be able to see or hear what happened. With the George Floyd
Right.
situation, that person videoed the entire thing. And the power of social media, and I always talk about the power of social media. um, that
Right.
video, as soon as someone hits send or upload or whatever it may be, it's around the world in point 0.1 seconds. And it's up to you to either click on or
Yeah.
click off, whatever it may be, but it is available to you. And you're right. You talked about privilege. I made no secret of the fact that I've always heard of white privilege, but I never really um, understood it, or I never really saw it. And unfortunately, it's still going on, and it's probably more rampant than it is right now. And it's interesting because tonight we have the final presidential debate of the election that's going to be, I think we're
Right.
13 days away at this point. And tonight we're going to hear from the current president and the potential president. And quite honestly, you talked about the media driving a wedge between us, and that came up yesterday. Excuse me, in a conversation that I had with another gentleman, and we both agreed that it's the newspaper and the media's endeavor to drive a wedge between us because that's what sells papers and that's what gets them ratings. Therefore, they're making money.
Yeah.
So think of it this way: they're making money off of us being separated and having differences of opinions. And you hear all the time where you have
Right.
almost lifelong relationships that are broken up because one person voted for this person and the other voted for that person. And I would like to just,
Right.
before we get into, Strike Fit and all that good stuff, I would like to encourage every single person to go out and vote. Do not feel like your vote does not matter.
Right.
Do not feel like, oh, nothing's going to
Right.
change. Your vote does matter. And I personally voted on yesterday. I live in the Charleston area, as you guys know, and at the North Charleston Coliseum, which is not far from where I live. It took me 35 minutes from start to finish. From the time I left my car to me arriving back to my car was about 35 minutes. And so I do encourage everyone to vote. Early voting is available to us. We also have mail-in balloting, and of course, you can also do the traditional stand in line on election day. But either way you do it, please vote and let your voice be heard, not just in the presidential race, but also in your local race as well. You can work on getting your roads fixed and your
Right.
better schools and better parks for your kids, violence and the street lights, all those good things that you need to do. So, just to kind of touch on that, but we're going to get into
Right.
what you have going on,
Yeah.
Erin.
I actually
Um,
drove to Monk's Corner today with my
mhm,
mom and she
right.
turned in her vote. So,
That's good. Good. And my mom actually, and I'll say this and we can turn it over to, to Strike. My mother was 75. Hi, mom, if you're watching. She voted on today's Thursday. So she voted on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday, I believe. And she kind of motivated me to get myself together to vote yesterday. So, we're all in this thing together. I do appreciate what you're doing, Erin. and trying to bring understanding and bring some just a no nonsense approach to the things that have beset our country as far as racism goes. Shout out to you for acknowledging, your Lebanese heritage. I had no idea. And like you said, you really can't tell. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter. You know what I mean? Just like I look like a black guy, but if I open my mouth and I spoke like I was from the Caribbean, go, oh, I'm Jamaican. Like sometimes you just don't know by looking at someone.
Right.
But again, very thankful for Stryke being something that a tool that's used right now to bring people together. So let's start at the beginning. Tell me your inspiration to begin Stryke Fit. Let's start from the top.
So my husband is a retired MMA fighter.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
He is a retired MMA fighter. He was a professional fighter for years. And he actually didn't have his very first fight until our first daughter was 1 month old.
Oh,
so
wow.
My husband was an All-American athlete. He actually last year was inducted into the Hall of Fame at his college that he went to, and he went on graduate school for wrestling and NCAA for, he's kind of a big deal in the wrestling world. And so he went
very humble too. I had no idea.
Yes, he's very humble about
Yeah,
it.
very humble. Yeah.
And he doesn't talk about it. I usually have to brag for him. But anyway, so he did all of that, and then he moved to Charleston and went to the Citadel doing his graduate degree. And in exchange, it was an assistantship. So in exchange, he was coaching the wrestling team for the Citadel.
Right.
And anyway, that's how he and I met.
Okay.
So, he was working. He was actually bouncing at a bar.
Okay.
And he ID'd me, and because I don't drink, I didn't have my ID. And I was like, I don't have it, but I'm single. So that's like the very first thing I ever said to my husband. My husband was like, can I see your ID? And I'm like, well, I don't have it, but I'm single. And it was really funny because he was like, well, that's great, but I'm still going to need to see your ID. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not falling for it? Okay.
Good try. Good try.
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, it was the way it was. But we ended up hitting it off even just that night. And he was in fitness and I was in fitness, and we were talking about it. And so then fast forward, we got married, and he had his first fight, and then he really begun his fighting career. Meanwhile, I'm dancing because I've been dancing, on and off throughout my life. There have been times where I took breaks, but I'm a dancer, like just a dancer. And as life got crazier for us, and we had our fourth child, which is our youngest and our only boy, we were in Rhode Island, and my husband was doing a fight against, oh my gosh, how could I forget it? How would I forget his name? I can't remember his name right now, but it was on pay-per-view. And this guy had come out of retirement from the UFC to fight my husband. My husband was his first fight out of retirement. And it's on YouTube, so you can YouTube if you want. And he pulled like a really dirty elbow, and he hit my husband right here. Ooh. And it like split my husband's head open. And wow. So like, here we are, I'm in Rhode Island. I have an infant child, like he's not even a year old. And I, at that point, had gotten to the point where I didn't even like watching the fights anymore. So I had been in the bathroom with our son praying while my husband was fighting. Right. And then the next thing I knew, I heard like it was over. And so I came out of the bathroom, and it was a huge arena, and I was looking for my husband. And next thing I know, here he comes on a stretcher, and they're rolling him out, and he wouldn't even talk to me. He just put his head down. And that was when I was like, yeah, you're done. Mm-hmm. Like, because then I had to find my way back to a hotel room in Rhode Island. It was freezing. Somebody got me a taxi, and I couldn't even talk to my husband. Right. And I was up till 5 o'clock in the morning waiting to even hear from him while he was in the ER, because I didn't have a car. We had flown in. And so I told him at that point, I was like, you're done. Like, you're going to have to pick, because I can't continue to support this. This is too much for me. I love you too much. And so it was very tough. Mm-hmm. But in the midst of that, I had already said to him a few times, like, why can't we create something that we can coexist together,
Right.
do together?
Right.
Because he had gone to several dance fitness classes with me and tried dancing, and he didn't love it.
Hmm.
And to be honest, he wasn't great at it. And I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
And I had tried doing his crazy fighting workouts, but
Hmm.
like they were so not only crazy, but like intense. And
Right.
I just would. So one day after that fight, we had gotten home and I had said to him, like, why don't we just put it together? Like, why don't we just put it together? And so that was kind of the beginning of Strike. And it took a few years before we even launched it to the public. But it was basically like my husband was like, well, how are you going to make MMA go with dance? And I'm like,
Right.
I'm a dancer. I can choreograph anything. You just have to give me the moves. So
Right.
just teach me how to fight. And if you
Right.
teach me how to fight, I can put the fight moves to choreography. And then as we began to build it, we wanted to include and make it something that was all encompassing. And we wanted to make it an experience that everybody could have.
Right.
Somebody that was just starting off or somebody that was super fit. And so
Right.
that's why we created different levels. And when we teach, I'll teach at level 1 a lot, which is the beginner level for people that haven't worked out in a while.
Hmm.
And then he'll teach at level 3, which is like the highly, like I call it on speed Chris level, because he's so fit
Right.
and he does things that are just so out of the box. And so
Right.
that's how we first created it. And then it really had a turning point for us when we were both, so I submitted us for a reality show, and this was 5.5 years, well, actually it was 6.5 years ago. It was September of 2014. I submitted us for a reality show, and they contacted us, and initially I submitted Chris,
Okay.
and they called us and they started interviewing us, and then in November of 2014 they chose us to
Mm.
come and participate on the reality show. But they were like, here's the thing, we love Strike, but we don't want Chris, we want you. And I'm like,
Oh.
okay, wait,
Yeah.
we're
Right.
not the fighter,
Right.
and like we were really presenting it for the fist,
Right.
wait,
Yeah.
fist,
Yeah.
not dancer. Because
Right.
if you look
Right.
at our logo, it's very
Yeah.
strategic, where
Yeah. I
the
see
A
that.
is the dancer and the E is the fist. So
Right. I got
anyway,
you. Yeah.
that began that we were supposed to leave in December of 2014. We didn't leave until June of 2015. And then we went as an entire family to live in LA for 6 weeks in a one-room hotel while I competed on this reality show. And Jillian Michaels, who is this huge world-renowned fitness guru, was the judge and also the host. And then there was also Obi Obadike, who is another great fitness, mogul, and Randy Hetrick, who's like the creator of the TRX bands. And those three were the judges. And so it began our whole journey. We did really well. I did really well. I was the one on the show.
Right. Right.
Strike, the company, did really well. And then we came back to Charleston and we were ready to give it, because we had trademarked it. We were ready to give it to Charleston. And so we started teaching all over, wherever people would have us. And about a year into that, we decided we need our own space.
Right.
And so that's when we got our first space. And we did that. I mean, all of this has been God. Every
Yeah.
step, every single step has been God. I mean, insulating our path, because at one point we were teaching Strike in our bedroom in our house. Okay. So we went from teaching Strike in our bedroom in our house to now having a 3,000 square foot studio and having over 100 plus members. Not to mention, we have 18 instructors. We have instructors in different states. I've now taught Strike in the Bahamas at the
Mm.
Pineapple Festival. So,
Hmm.
I mean, we've taught in different states and in different countries, because we have
Right.
a certified instructor in Singapore. I
Hmm.
mean, it has just been such a ride,
Wow.
full of favor and
Hmm.
just full of, blessings, because
Right.
God is just really, he's been faithful. So,
Right. Well, that's quite a story. Number one, I met Chris, when we did the event back in June,
right.
and he did not tell me that he was a former MMA fighter. I probably would have gotten his autograph. I guess I still have a chance now to get
You
his
totally
autograph.
still get it. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, but it's actually interesting. I'm not a big MMA fan, but I do remember when it first came out.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, one of the first UFC fights I ever saw was like back in maybe like 1998 or 99, something like that. And when it was just budding, this is back when you had video stores, and my buddy and I would rent these videos. And I personally, I'm a big wrestling fan, like, professional wrestling, of course,
Okay.
in
Yeah.
faith. So they will like strategically placed right next to the wrestling video. I was like, what's this? So I looked, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And this is actually real. Like, this is really happening. So
Yes.
I became somewhat of like an ancillary fan. But, that's quite a journey. I don't want to get too far off, but that's quite a journey. So you're here in Charleston. Excuse me, you're here in Charleston, and you have that space in the North Charleston area. Tell me what a person has to do mentally to commit themselves to wanting to be a part of this. So I guess what I'm asking is, I had a conversation with my buddy yesterday, and we talked about how, in healthy living, and I want you to touch on this if possible, like eating correctly and things of that nature. One of the things that people, they want to lose weight, they want to look fit, they want to, do this or that. But what does your mindset have to be to come into a strike, dance, fit type atmosphere? Is there a trick, or like, what can you tell us about that?
I think in general, when you want anything that is health and wellness related, anything, not just going to strike, but anything in general, you
Mhm.
have to have a why.
Right.
And it has to be a strong one. A lot of people that walk through our doors are people that have let themselves get so out of shape that they feel disconnected from themselves just in general. And it's kind of like a last ditch effort of,
Mhm.
okay, well, I've let myself go, and now I'm at that breaking point. And I think a
Right.
lot of times, unfortunately, in life, we don't do things until we hit a breaking point.
Right.
And it's, I've always said Ayanna Van Zant is one of my favorite authors of all
Right.
time. And she like, I heard her years and years and years ago, like 20 at least, on Oprah. And she said something about she said, best thing, child, about a breakdown is that it's going to precede a breakthrough.
Mm.
So I've always kept that with me, because what I see a lot and what I experience a lot in this industry are people that come in and they start to break down.
Hmm.
And what I try to encourage them to realize is, this is a breakdown, but you're going to have a breakthrough.
Right.
And you don't get to rock bottom without truly losing your shit. I mean,
Right.
when you hit rock bottom, you hit rock bottom. And
Hmm.
so unfortunately, but fortunately at the same time, because I feel fortunate to be able to catch these people, because that's
Right.
kind of like what I feel one of the things God has really called Chris and I to do,
Right.
is to heal people, especially people that have hit that, because we do get other people that come in with the mindset of, oh, I just kind of like have taken a break and I need something new. And,
Right.
we even get people that come in that are super fit, and
Hmm.
they're just bored in what they're doing and they want something different. So,
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, I can't tell you a one type of
Yeah.
mindset that you have to have coming in, because it really depends on that individual walking through the door. What I can tell you is, you have to want it
Right.
regardless. Like, you
Yeah.
have to want it, and you have to be willing to do what it takes.
Right.
And there's always going to be, I think, something that will push you. And, I know for me personally, with my health, I mean, I was obese at one point. I was
Mhm.
100 pounds heavier than I am now.
Wow.
And so, one of the things that kind of got me into this place was, okay, is I can't I mean, I was a single mom, because just
Mhm.
to give you a little background on me, I got pregnant when I was 17.
Okay.
Prior to getting pregnant at the age of 17, I was drug and alcohol addicted.
Mm.
So I was doing drugs, I was drinking, I was eating all the things. I was, just not in a very good place. And I found myself pregnant at the age of 17. And then I had to literally detox
Right.
naturally like that from everything because I was, pregnant and having a baby.
Right.
And then I started suffering from panic and anxiety attacks on top
Mm.
of that. So
Wow.
here I am debilitated by a panic and anxiety disorder, and I'm
Hmm.
getting bigger and bigger and don't even know it because I've
Right.
disconnected from myself.
Yeah. Right.
So I wasn't even like aware. And that's one
Mhm.
thing that I have found with women who, and men, but more so women that come in and they
Mhm.
are so much heavier than they should be, is there's a complete disconnection. They
Mhm.
don't even realize what they've allowed themselves to do
Mhm.
until they get to that point. And those are the people that come in that are, but my why had to be, okay, well, now I'm 17. I've dropped out of high school because now I'm a high school dropout on top of it because I don't want to go to high school pregnant.
Right.
And I'm completely sober and I'm the mom of an infant. And
Mhm.
and I'm not healthy. And prior to that, I was dancing. So, my motivation to lose weight and to get healthy was my daughter, who is now one of my best instructors, and she's 25 and she works for me at my studio.
Great.
And I've been sober for 22 years.
Mhm.
So, I mean, or is it 21? No, it's 21 years. Sorry. Never
It's
mind.
okay.
21 years.
It
I
was
just ate,
22 years.
listen, hold
Yeah.
on. I just aged myself here. So you
Right.
don't do that. It's
Nah.
21 years. But
Right.
yeah, so my why was all of that. But then you're constantly, I think, also evolving.
Right.
So you always want to be a better version of yourself. And I just recently wrote about this on Facebook, but I recently just came to terms with I was still really suffering from an eating disorder.
Mm.
And I was still, really not nourishing my body the way I needed to nourish it. And it took me losing my period and medical tests saying that I was in menopause when I wasn't
Mm.
to realize, okay, here's why. And I'm not taking care of myself. And I need to because I matter. I still
Right.
matter.
Right.
In the midst of all of this, in the midst of trying to heal everybody else, I have to also take care of me. And I find so many times in life, in any field of expertise, the expert is usually so good at helping others, but usually neglects themselves.
Right.
And
Mhm.
that's just and so that's what I was doing, and I'm obviously not now, but there's just so many factors. I mean, I
No.
get so passionate about talking
No.
about
No.
this
No. Yeah.
because I see so much of it. We're at an all-time high right now in our country with depression, with anxiety, with suicide, with obesity. People are getting heavier and heavier and unhealthier and unhealthier. And, it's my mission, it's my husband's mission. However, we can deliver and be vehicles of health for other people, that is what we want to do. And it's interesting that you say mindset because I just released a book in September called Discover Your Roar. And that book is a 30-day journey. It's like a 30-day journey to finding your roar. But what that really translates into is getting your shit together in your head.
Right. Right.
So, I tell a lot of my clients that I coach from the nutrition standpoint, I can give you all the tools, but if you have a great body and a corrupted mind, your body, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
The correlation has, like, you have to be well here and here.
Yeah, that's powerful because I do believe that everything happens in your mind. Your mind is what tells you that
Yes.
that you're going to eat the Twinkie. The mind's going to tell you, you don't need that Twinkie.
Right.
And I like Twinkies actually, but
I do
you know,
too. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah.
good.
But you have to have control.
Yes.
I put up a post the other day, I think on Facebook, just the definition of self-discipline. Self-discipline is eating, maybe a handful of potato chips as opposed to eating the
Right.
entire bag. Self-discipline is getting up and being consistent, going to the gym and working out like you're supposed to, going for that run, or taking your dog for a walk, or going out with your family for a family walk.
Right.
That's self-control, that's self-discipline. And I was just about to ask you why, you do what you do, but after hearing your story, it's very obvious why you do what you do. And it's just important. I'm sorry, I'm looking at I think my dog's barking, but it's just very important that we stay focused, on what we need to be doing. And I like what you say because depression is at an all time high. There was a time where depression was kind of written off, in America where people were not paying them much attention. But as you see, suicide rates go up, and
Right.
it's funny because so many things. Um, how can I say, so many things precipitate depression. Again, with the power of social media. If you don't get enough likes, you're like, oh my God. And I told a story of a good friend of mine
Sorry,
who,
my
yeah,
Wi-Fi.
it's okay. A good friend of mine, who lost his daughter. She actually committed suicide because she didn't get enough likes on. She wasn't getting enough likes on another social media platform. So my heart goes out, and it's very interesting because there's so many people that are hopeless, and
Right.
that's one of the things that I try to encourage people. I try to encourage them to remain hopeful and
Right.
not give up. You understand what I'm saying? And I always
Yep.
say, go to a happy place, find out what it is that makes you happy. And it's good to know that Strike Fit is not just something to work out and sweat and do all that, but it's also something to kind of cultivate your mind, and also so that you have inspiration, that you go forward, because that's what's going to make all the difference in the world. So tell me what you guys are doing in the future, as far as Strike Fit goes. Like, where are we right now, and where are we going in the future?
So, interesting that you asked me that. So, we are actually getting ready to launch our virtual platform.
Okay.
So, we've been working on it for a while, quite a
Hmm.
while. We were actually working on it prior to COVID, but it wasn't very classy.
Hmm.
And when COVID happened, we realized we needed to have it classier because
Hmm.
of what we were seeing with the trend of fitness in general going to be much more virtual because a lot of people don't feel good about coming into a studio with
Right.
COVID.
Right.
And then just, I think a lot of things are moving to a more virtual platform anyway.
Yeah.
And so we hired an amazing woman, and she's been doing a lot of great work for us. We were supposed to launch in August. Unfortunately, I mean, it's COVID. I just feel like, just if any insert, it's 2020 for everything, is as your, but it's
Yeah. I
2020,
know.
you
Yeah.
know
Right. Right.
so it's 2020. So
Right.
anyway, but we are getting ready to launch, and we are super excited about that. And then from there, we feel like with our new platform, we're going to be able to have a global reach.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's always been Chris and I's goal, is to be able to heal on a much larger scale. We wanted to be able to deliver this product that we feel that really was created within us by God,
Mhm.
to the masses, and to
Right.
be able to move the masses and to help them to be healthier.
Right.
I do private coaching, so I do it virtually, and I have some great clients. In fact, I was working with a woman this morning, and she's just amazing, and she's 74, and she's a
Oh,
pistol.
wow.
And so, I work with women that are in their 70s, and I work with
Mhm.
women that are in their 20s. And
Right.
I love doing the one-on-one training. I
Mhm.
love doing, I mean, my vision is to take Strike on a tour.
Mhm.
So hopefully sooner than later, that's what Chris and I are planning to do, is we launch the virtual platform, and then we go on tour.
Right.
And I mean, I want to do more with you guys.
Right. Of course.
We
Yeah.
know we're working on that,
Right.
because I think that fitness concerts, instead of let me move. I'm moving, and this thing confuses me because it's like flipped. So
Yeah.
like, I think
Yeah.
I'm going that way, but
Yeah.
really I need to go that way.
Yeah. Stay
And
right there. Stay right there.
I'm good.
Right.
So, we want to do, because our thing is, you can go to a concert, and then it's all about the unhealthy food and the drinking and all of those things. But our vision is healthy concerts with bottled water and granola bars and fruit snacks, and still
Mhm.
live band and great
Right.
music, but moving your body
Right.
to it. And
Right.
so, we want to do that. We want to go on tour. We have our virtual platform. And we have some other big news, but I can't announce it yet, because if I announce it on your show before I announce it with my husband, he probably would kill me.
Well,
So,
we don't want him to kill you. You guys have come too
yeah,
far for him to kill you, so
yeah.
it's all good. Well, listen, I thank you definitely for your time.
Oh
I
yeah,
think that
thank you for having me.
we're gonna do it again soon. We'll be collaborating real soon. The Lavish
Yes,
Sound and Strike Fit. So let's talk about this real quick as we wrap up. How can people, number one, get in contact with you guys? And second, how can we acquire all your shirts and your merchandise? Is it for sale? Do you have what's going on with that?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I just did 180-piece apparel order, as in this, like, yesterday. Last night I was doing it with my assistant slash instructor slash
Right,
best friend and my
right, right.
husband. And it
When
was 8 o'clock at night, and we were outside piecing all of the different orders together. And so, yes, you can absolutely order. We have so many different styles. We have muscle tanks, we have tank tops, we have sweatshirts, we have hoodies, we
right,
have cropped hoodies. I mean, this is one of our newer, muscle crops.
right.
And we also have the lion on some of our stuff from the
Mm,
Discover Your Roar. I mean,
yeah,
that's super easy. All you have to do is go on to our website, which is www.strykefitness.com. In
mhm,
fact, all of our social media stamps are Strike, Stryke, Fitness, Fitness, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and our website. You can hit us up on all of those platforms
right,
and find us.
right,
Also, you can get some free classes if you go and subscribe to our YouTube, which is Strike Fitness on YouTube, because
right.
we do have some free classes up there. And I would love for any of your viewers to go and try a free class.
Good.
I
Yes.
will actually have one unlisted,
Mhm.
and I will send it to you, and you can
Yes.
link
Please
it
do.
if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
And then also, our during the month of October, our special is just free. Like, we played on it because 2020 wasn't spooky enough. We're
Hmm.
going to give you Strike Fitness free for a month. And so
Wow.
people still have time to come check us out, 8780 Rivers Avenue,
Hmm.
Suite 302C,
Hmm.
and you can just come and see us, and we will let you do Strike for the whole entire month for free. And
Hmm.
if you don't want to come to a physical place, you email us or Facebook message us or Instagram message us, let us know, and we will put you into our virtual platform, and you can take classes every single day with us, live or pre-recorded.
Now, I just wanted to clarify that is Rivers Avenue in North Charleston, South Carolina. And
Yes.
this, and I do believe God is going to make this podcast a global thing. So I always give the exact location. So
Yeah.
whenever
Yeah.
somebody's in town, so I do want you to, you're in North Charleston, South Carolina. So,
Yes.
you know, I'm going to give you a couple more minutes. I want you to brag a little bit on some of your achievements. You shared some things with me over the phone the other day.
Yeah.
You give us a little touch of what you guys have achieved in being ranked in
Okay.
Charleston.
Well, we're very proud because we did just win about a month ago we're now Charleston's best gym in Charleston. So
Yay.
we won best overall gym in Charleston. And again, when you know our story and you know that we started from the bottom and that we had no funding behind us, and that the way we opened our very first studio was taking out a lien on our van for
Mm,
$5,000, and that's all we had, and literally 14 guaranteed paying members and $5,000 on a van lien. To go from that to getting literally beating out gyms with millions of dollars behind them and several franchises and all the things, it's a pretty big statement, not only for Chris and me, but for our entire community. And we're very big on honoring the fact that we haven't done this alone. This has been a community effort. But not only did we win Low Country or Charleston's best, we won Low Country Parent Choice Award, and we also won North Charleston's best, and we were just put into North Charleston Hall of Fame. So
wow.
that was all in the last 7 months in a quarantine. So we're
Yeah.
pretty proud of all of that.
As I always say, God is the greatest, and if you avail yourself to Him, He'll avail Himself to you.
Agreed.
So, definitely thank you once again for coming on to the Different Echelon podcast. Once again, let people know how they can get in contact with you for any questions, comments, or I mean, I know we all have MapQuest and Google and all that stuff, but give your address once again. Give all your information, please.
Okay, so it's Erin Mansour, as in a man sore. My husband always likes to poke on me with that. So, but it's spelled man sour. And I will actually even give you my phone number. It's 843-478-5860 because it's not a secret. It's on Stryke Fitness.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Stryke, Stryke Fitness, FITNESS. You can find us on Instagram at Stryke Fitness, Facebook at Stryke Fitness, YouTube at Stryke Fitness, TikTok at Stryke Fitness. You can find us on our website at Stryke Fitness. And then our physical location is literally right off of Rivers Avenue, right in the same shopping center as the Piggly Wiggly. And that address is 8780 Rivers Avenue, Suite 302C. We are right beside Don's Barbershop. The entire month of October is free. If you don't want to come to a class, we do socially distanced classes outside on Monday night and on Saturday morning. And we also have a virtual platform that you can try for free as well. We will hook you up any way we can.
Listen, I would like to thank you. Your dedication is not unnoticed. It was your lights just went out.
No, it's okay.
I know. No, what I was going to say was when I first started this, you were there was some sunlight, and
I
now
was so bright.
yeah, now you're like in a studio or something like a hip hop studio. But listen, I just want to thank you again for taking the time to do this. Thank you also for everyone for tuning in, listening, and watching on Facebook and on YouTube. Please, you guys, hit me with any questions or comments or concerns you have for Erin and Christian, my new favorite MMA guy. Hit me at Darius Nolan 28 at Gmail. Please hit me on Instagram, and I am a different echelon on Instagram, and Darius Nolan at Facebook. Once again, you guys stay empowered, stay educated, and just believe. Yes, they believe for sure. So thank you again, Erin. We'll be working together, hopefully forever and ever. Amen. Because I have a good vibe with you guys. So anyway, you guys all be blessed. Thanks again for tuning in and joining the Different Echelon fam. God bless you. Have a good night.
God bless you.
All right.